presented by the Strong Blue Line Foundation and powered by Moose Ridge Coffee in Snake River Landing, Idaho Falls. Welcome to the podcast, where former San Antonio police officer, author, and pastor Tim Rupp walks you through real-life scenarios involving our police officers and digs into the depths of facts and opinions on each case. This is Cop Talk, and it starts now.
Hello and welcome to Cop Talk, the radio show and podcast of the Strong Blue Line. I'm Tim Rupp, in studio with operations manager for the Rev.FM, Gary Austin. Hello, Gary.
Hey, Tim Rupp.
Here we are again.
Here we are in the studio.
You know, Easter behind us now.
Yes.
Great services. All is going
so
on.
Good. Yeah.
Men's Resolve coming up this
Yes.
weekend, Saturday. Is there still time to register now, 2 days before?
Absolutely. Yeah.
So they can still register. Go online, watersprings.net.
Yep.
Go in there, register. And they got a bunch of stuff going on.
They do.
And you've heard it's been on the Rev. You've heard all this stuff.
Yeah.
It's
looking
crunch
forward
time.
to it.
Get to it a couple days. So please sign up for that. And unfortunately,
I don't want to hear it, Tim.
I know. I know. Sherry and I are headed to South Dakota this weekend.
Well, it's for a good cause.
It is. I was asked. I'm doing some training for chaplains in Region 3 of the International Conference of Police Chaplains.
Oh,
Region 3. They're it's international. It's an international organization, but they have regions all over the world.
Very cool.
Region 3 is kind of like that Minnesota, parts of South Dakota, up in that area.
Oh.
The northern Midwest, I guess that's what you would say.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of in that area. So we're going there. A friend of mine, he's
cool.
he's their regional representative. He invited me to come and speak. So we're going to go out there and do some training for about a week, and then we'll be back, and then we're going to be hitting the road again in the middle of May, back down to northwest Arkansas this time, and then over to my daughter. My daughters are, I can say it now on here, she's already married. I've already said that, but they're having their official wedding in North Carolina. That's where he's from. So they're having that deal there. They're having their official wedding and all that stuff. So we're looking forward to going to do that, and some more seminars on the way back. We're hitting Kansas. We'll be in Kansas, just outside of Kansas City. And then, so we're doing other things too. So yeah, so it's a missions trip again. Looking forward to it.
Good stuff.
Yeah. Hey, so let's look at. We've got some unfinished business that we got to get to. Last week
we do.
We're going to cover. We're going to get to it today. But before we do that, we're going to talk about the Officer Down Memorial page. The officers killed in the line of duty on this date in history. And I have Special Policeman Philip H. Goins, Frankfort Police Department, Kentucky. End of watch, April 23rd, today in history, 1892. Special Policeman Philip Goins suffered a fatal heart attack shortly after he and another officer arrested a man for disorderly conduct. And so what we're reading here, Gary, is just this officer has a heart attack on duty. And think, well, that's natural causes. So why is it killed in the line of duty?
Yeah.
But they've been doing this for years. If they suffer a heart attack in the line of duty, if it's duty related, like you do something stressful and then it sets off the heart attack, you know. So it's that's why it's been covered. You don't hear too much about this in the older guys.
Right.
You see it in the newer ones, but this is back in 1892. Officer Goins and another officer were assigned to a polling location during the Democratic primary election. They arrested the man. It's funny. Read back about the primary election. America just goes on.
Yeah,
it
does.
100 years from now, they're going to be talking about the GOP convention, and it's like, and it's just going to continue on. If the Lord don't come back, things will continue.
Yep.
Anyways, they arrested a man for disorderly conduct and walked him to the workhouse where they were using for a jail, I guess. As they returned to their post, officers suggest they stop for a drink of water. Because they were close to Policeman Goins' home, they stopped there for water. As they were preparing to leave, Goins suddenly collapsed. A doctor was sent for, but Goins passed away before he arrived. Goins had served with the Frankfort Fire Department as a special policeman, and for the police department. So he was a fireman and a policeman for several years. He was survived by his wife and 7 children.
Wow.
Perhaps that's the cause of the heart attack. I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyway, seven children. He was a fireman and a policeman. And you don't think about that. Let's stop for a glass of water. Well, where are we going to get a glass of water at? This is 1892.
Exactly.
They didn't have a public water thing.
No,
you know?
no.
Anyways, what do you have there, Gary?
Oh. This is investigator John Hampton Kodow III, Harris County Sheriff's Office out of Texas. End of watch Tuesday, April 23rd, 2024. So just a year ago. Investigator Kodow, I guess, responded to a minor collision, and he parked on the center median with his lights activated, and a truck traveling north swerved to avoid hitting the patrol vehicle and struck investigator Kodow in the median. So he was transported by life flight to the hospital, where he later passed away. Investigator Kodow was a U.S. Army veteran. He served with the Harris County Sheriff's Office for 20 years, survived by his wife and mother. So 50 years old, probably very close to retirement.
Yeah. 20 years on, he had 20 in.
Yeah, 20
So,
years.
yeah, he may have been looking at retirement next,
It's a long time. I mean, at one agency,
Yeah.
you're all in.
In Harris County, well, a couple things I want to mention there. One, the guy swerved to miss the car.
Yeah.
For some reason, he was not paying attention. The guy has his lights on. He didn't see it. We don't know if the sunshine. We don't know what's going on. We don't know if he's on his phone. We don't know if he wasn't paying, whatever.
That's right.
But for some reason, he wasn't paying attention. You just got to pay attention. That's
Yeah.
it. I mean, we've all been there. I think that we just like, oh man, thank the Lord. As I went through that red light or something, somebody
Right.
wasn't there, because sometimes we just don't pay attention. Imperative to pay attention to what's going on. But another thing, Harris County. I don't know if you saw the news here recently. There have been in Harris County, which is Houston. It's the county which Houston is the county seat. So it's a big, large metropolitan sheriff's office. They had 4 officers commit suicide within a 6-week period.
Oh my
in that
goodness.
agency. 2 of them were retired, but they were still officers with that. So that was a big deal. You probably remember back in 2022, where 5 San Antonio police officers in a 9-month period committed suicide.
Yeah.
And then suicide is still, and I did a little research on that, and the FOP there, the Fraternal Order of Police, their police association, and they're saying, hey, we're doing things and it's not helping. And a lot of it, Gary, is the help for suicide is mental health. Well, and sometimes it's mental health, but oftentimes it's spiritual health.
Right.
And
I
in
think so.
spiritual health, you need a spiritual health professional to help them out. So, if I have a spiritual problem, Gary, I'm going to go to my pastor. That's who I'm going to go to, or an elder in the church, or a wise Christian man that I admire and look up to. I'm going to share with that brother in Christ. But a lot of officers, if you don't have a spiritual foundation, if you don't have a clergy to go to, you don't have a pastor, you don't have a priest, you don't have a chaplain. That's why chaplains are so important. I mentioned last week that chaplain training, police chaplain training, is becoming more and more popular and more needed in our country, because officers are a lot of officers. They're millennials and Gen Z, and they're growing up without any spiritual foundation whatsoever. So they have nothing to fall back onto.
Right.
When they go to over and over, they go to the fatality accident where they're picking up parts of children, and notifying the parents, or just the whole family's killed. They're going to these rape calls and these murders and these suicides, and they're like, what's going on with our world?
Yeah.
And they have no answers. And so it's so important for them to be able to have somebody that they can trust. They can go to and say, hey, chaplain, what's going on? I need some help. I need some, so the chaplaincy in law enforcement is so important.
Yeah.
So it's important we get these trained. That's part of what the Strong Blue Line is doing. And we felt just recently, especially over the last 6 months, we've seen that the more and more necessity for chaplain training. So we're trying to get things now where we can provide chaplain training free of charge to agencies. And here's something that I was talking to a friend of mine, Jeff Carr. He's a retired Baptist pastor. He's never law enforcement, but he was he's still a police chaplain, 28 years police chaplain in Mesa County, New Mexico, Albuquerque in the surrounding area.
Okay.
And he's actually going out, knocking on doors of police agencies. We think you probably need a chaplaincy here. And he's trying to get him to go, and
That's
it's
cool.
like he's being proactive. And what we would like to do with the Strong Blue Line is to be able to knock on the door and say, Chief, Sheriff, these are the benefits of a chaplaincy, and it costs you almost next to nothing because they're volunteer, you're not paying them. And we want to be able to say, we will train chaplains if you're willing to have a chaplaincy. We're hoping the agency will tell them, hey, here's the benefits. There's no downside, really. There's no downside to it. And here's the benefits of it. Will you let us do it? And if they say yes, then we can go to evangelical churches and say, we need chaplains. Either pastors or lay people in the church who are interested in being a chaplain, then we can train them. And so we give the agency trained chaplains.
That's cool.
And there you go. And so that's what the mission money that's going to the Strong Blue Line. That's the kind of stuff that we do. So
I love
that's
it.
what we're looking
great,
forward to
Tim.
doing. Yeah, so it's really exciting to look forward to that. So I got to get to this, Gary. You're getting me off on a tangent again, and we got to get to this. So
what is it?
Well, last week on the 16th, remember I mentioned that what was named Jacob Owens. Deputy Marshal Jacob Owens died in the line as a result of injuries in the line of duty April 16th, 1872. Them injuries occurred the day before on April 15th.
Oh, yes.
So
that's right.
I did a little research, and it said that 7 other deputies were killed when he was. So that's 8 law enforcement officers murdered on the same time.
Man.
I'm not going to read this. I'm not going to read this whole thing, but I want to tell you the story, Gary.
Yeah, I want to hear it.
Very interesting. So, Fort Smith, out of Fort Smith, Arkansas, the deadliest day in U.S. Marshal Service history took place on April 15th, 1872. Let me tell you about what happened. Deputy Marshal Jacob Owens, that's who we talked about last week, and a posse. So this is back in 1872, where you got the posse, Gary.
Yeah.
They had ridden into the Cherokee Nation from nearby Fort Smith. Now, Fort Smith, Arkansas. Remember, that's the old hanging judge.
Yeah.
And you remember Rooster Cogburn?
Oh yeah,
John Wayne, and then the later remake of that with Jeff Bridges.
Yes.
That's out of Fort Smith, and of course that's just a fictional one. And then Clint Eastwood did one, Hang 'Em High.
So
that was out of Fort Smith, and so you have all this stuff going on. But this marshal and the posse rode in to arrest Zeke Proctor. Now Zeke Proctor is an Indian. Okay. He's a Native American Indian, Zeke Proctor, for assaulting a U.S. citizen. At the time, at this time, the Cherokee Nation still held land in northeastern Oklahoma, and the Cherokee people were only tribal citizens, so they were not considered citizens of the United States.
Oh,
they were citizens of the Cherokee Nation.
Okay.
So it was like you're going into a different country. You're going into their tribal nation.
Mm-hmm.
In the Cherokee Nation court, Proctor was being tried for fatally shooting a Cherokee Nation citizen, Polly Beck. Now here's the person he killed. He killed Polly Beck, and he wounded her husband. Her husband's name is Jim Kesterson. So I don't know why they didn't share the last name. But her name's Polly Beck. His name's Jim Kesterson. And I'm going to give you a little bit of background on that.
Okay,
Gary.
Yeah, let's hear it.
So, well, let me tell you, and this happened on February 13th. So just 2 days before the shots were fired. And for personal and political reasons, the trial was highly charged because of strong family ties and all that stuff was going on. So here's the background, Gary. This guy, Jim Kesterson, was married to Polly Beck.
Okay.
And this guy, Proctor, this Indian, Proctor, goes in and shoots him. So now why does he go in and shoot these two people? Apparently his target was the man, Jim Kesterson. He goes to shoot Jim. Polly, according to legend, Polly jumped in the way and took the bullet for her husband. She died.
Oh.
Okay. She is Indian. So she killed,
Okay.
she's a Native American.
uh-huh.
So he killed another Indian and he wounded Kesterson. So he turns himself into the Indian sheriff in the Cherokee Nation.
Okay.
And the Indian sheriff says, "Okay, you're in jail and you're charged with murder, and we're going to try you for murdering this Indian female."
Uh-huh.
Well, the U.S. government said, "Wait a minute, you wounded a U.S. citizen, Kesterson, and we're going to try you for wounding a U.S. citizen." So they go there to get him, and the Cherokee Nation said, "You're not taking him. He's under our authority. You have no authority here." And the U.S. court said, "No, we do," and they go back and forth. And so the U.S. So what happened? The U.S. court said, "Okay, we don't have authority, but you go there." They dispatched 10 deputies, this posse. They said, "You go there. If he gets acquitted, if Proctor gets acquitted for murder, you arrest him and bring him back." So that was the deal. And so
Okay.
let me tell you a little bit more background. So what prompted Proctor to go over there and try to kill Jim?
Yeah.
Well, Jim is his ex-brother-in-law.
Oh.
Jim was married to Proctor's sister. They were married for quite a
Okay.
while, had several children, and he abandoned the family.
Oh.
So now Zeke Proctor's like, "You're my no good, rotten brother-in-law that I don't like." Here's something else to throw in the mix. Another rumor was that Proctor earlier, the girl that he murdered, apparently by mistake, he had feelings for her.
Oh my goodness.
Gary, I'll tell you, we need to contact Amazon or somebody to make a mini series.
Yeah.
This
Really do. You need to write a book, Tim.
Hey, maybe I need to write a book on it. But so you have all this stuff going on, and so they moved the court. They didn't do it in the courthouse. They did it at a local school because there's so many people.
Oh, wow.
It was political because the U.S. don't have jurisdiction here, and the U.S. says yes we do, and no you don't, and all this stuff going on. And so you have these 10 deputies and other people with them. There's actually 15 people, and they started going to the courthouse when shots rang out. And there's discrepancies on who fired the first shots, the Indians or the Americans. And so there were shots fired. That's where these 8 deputies were shot and killed. Actually,
Wow.
11 people total were killed. And 11 others were injured, including the judge. The judge, his name was this. If I can got his name here. He's an Indian judge. And if I can, his name is Black Hawk Six Killer. So how would you like to have a name, Black Hawk Six Killer?
I wouldn't like that.
Black Hawk Six Killer. But Zeke Proctor, that's his Indian name. He's like, "Hey, Zeke Proctor, that doesn't sound Indian to me, but who knows?" Anyways, and so all these people were killed her, but this isn't the end of the story. So what had happened? The Americans who survived, the deputies survived, they skedaddled back to Arkansas, got across state lines, so now they're safe in Arkansas. And the U.S. District Court of Western Arkansas issues arrest warrants for the Indians that killed the deputies. Okay?
Okay.
You know what the Cherokee Nation Court did?
What?
They issued arrest warrants for the deputies who killed the Indians.
Oh, wow.
So you have this standoff.
Mm-hmm.
You have this standoff, and they don't want to go into others because if you step over the line, they'll arrest you. If they step over the line, we arrest
Right.
them. And so you have this going on, and this caused such a ruckus in the United States that a congressional investigation pursued from this.
Wow.
Ensued. So you had a congressional education, and the president at the time, General Grant, kind of reminds me of your. General Grant was president, so President Grant he said, we need to take care of this. So what he did, he said, I'll tell you what, if you Indian Nation, if you guys drop the warrants, we'll drop the warrants. So they did. Both sides dropped the warrants. They shook hands, and
wow,
that's it. So Proctor, the original guy that was tried for, he went ahead and got tried for murder. He was acquitted. So he was acquitted of killing Polly.
Mm-hmm.
And he later went on to become a senator for the Cherokee Nation. And then he became a sheriff. And let me see, something else was here about it. It says Zeke Proctor returned to live in the area, and by the 1880s he owned a small ranch. He was elected a Cherokee senator in 1877, and in 1894 was elected sheriff of the tribe's Flint district. He served as a deputy U.S. Marshal from 1891 to 94 under federal judge Isaac Parker.
Wow.
Isaac Parker, that's the hanging judge, who had been in office during the Going Snake shooting. That's what this is all about, the Going Snakes massacre.
Mm-hmm.
Proctor died February 23rd, 1907 at the age 76. He is buried in Johnson Cemetery in West Siloam Springs. Siloam Springs, my mother-in-law lives in Siloam Springs, Arkansas. West Siloam Springs it's right there on the border.
Okay.
So half of it's in Arkansas, half of it's like Kansas City.
Oh.
So.
Wow.
Anyways, what an interesting story, isn't it,
That
Gary?
is so interesting. I really like that. And that all stemmed from the Officer Down Memorial page.
Exactly. Officer
And
Down
so then you
Memorial
did a
has-
little bit more research.
Yeah, you look at these things, and sometimes the stuff's really, really interesting, but that's all there is. A little paragraph, and you research it, you can't find it anywhere. But a lot of this stuff, you start seeing these things, and they're just amazing. And here, I forgot to mention. So the posse guys, I told you I was going to mention the guys who were killed in the line of duty. So killed in the line of duty is Marshall Owens. We mentioned him. Mm-hmm. The members of the posse. Here's this: William Hicks, George Selvage, Jim Ward, Riley Woods, William Beck, Black Sut Beck, and Sam Beck. All Becks. Remember Polly's name was Beck?
Beck.
So these are her brothers or something, relatives. So you get a posse of guys of the brother of the murder victim.
Yeah.
What do you think the guys are? These guys are going to be not biased?
And he was upset at his ex-brother-in-law.
It just family, man.
Yeah. Often the case. Sometimes.
And you go back to J. Warner Wallace. He's a cold case detective. He's written some Christian books, apologetic books. I quoted him in a couple of my books. But he goes back, he says, murder, he's done a lot of murder investigation, a lot more murder investigation than I did when I was an investigator. But he says, it goes back to power, sex, and money. That's what you look for when you look at why do people commit murder?
Yeah.
Power, sex, and money.
It's true.
And so you have the power going on, a relationship, whether it's all kinds of stuff. So power, sex, and money.
Yeah.
So things don't change.
No, don't.
I think King Solomon said that.
Yes.
Anyways, Gary, we are out of time. We are over time. Hey, you can catch Cop Talk on Amazon, Google, Apple, and Spotify platforms. Saw from the Good Book today. Hey, thanks for listening in. If you have a topic or question you want to address, send us an email. We talk about just about anything on here, because just about anything deals with policing and the Christian worldview. So you can email suggestions, questions, comments, or complaints to coptalk@therev.fm. That's coptalk@therev.fm. Thought from the Good Book today. Whoever guards his mouth preserves his life. Whoever opens wide his lip comes to ruin. Ooh, that kind of hurts, Gary.
Yes.
Well, radio
yeah. Wow.
Oh, wow. Hey, thanks for joining us and helping to make the thin blue line a strong blue line.
Cop Talk is presented by the Strong Blue Line Foundation and sponsored by Moose Ridge Coffee in Snake River Landing, Idaho Falls. Questions and comments are always welcome by email to coptalk@therev.fm. Listen, follow, leave a review, and share this podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, or YouTube. And visit thestrongblueline.org to learn how you can be a supporter. Cop Talk is a Rev FM production, produced and edited by Gary Austin. Thank you for joining us on Cop Talk.